Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Oakland, people here in person and people on Zoom. Hi, everyone. Good morning. We are glad you are here, and after this service, we welcome you to our what I like to call happy hour, which is our coffee hour in Venti Hall, just through that door, the exit, or through the other door and back inside the building. What's next? All right, thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. I've never heard that before. The land acknowledgement. As people all over the world today continue to struggle to reclaim their sacred lands, here in Oakland, it's important for us each Sunday to remember that the land on which we live, work, and worship is the ancient sacred grounds and the unceded land of the Lishan Ohlone indigenous people of the Bay Area. Unceded, that's a strange word. It means that the Ohlone people never gave up their land. Rather, it was taken from them. Even though we personally were not the ones who originally took the land from the Ohlone people, our lives profit from it every day. Let us not forget that the Ohlone people are still here. One concrete thing we can do is to heal the broken covenant that we inherited is to contribute to the Shumi land tax, which directly supports Segurité's work of repatriation, of returning indigenous land to the indigenous people. You can see the Segurité's contact information on the slide, and you can donate. Okay, and now for the chalice lighting. I invite you to join in reciting the chalice lighting words, which will appear on the screen in a moment. The chalice lighting words. And feel free not just to join with the words, but to make the hand motions. We light this chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. May it remind us of the divine spark in all of creation, the power of love to heal what is broken, and to be grateful for life's blessings each day. Okay. So welcome everyone. Let's all turn for a moment and see those bright lights up there? That's where the Zoom people are. Turn your heads around to look at them. So just wave at them, say hi to them, just so that they know that we know they're there. We live today in a time that calls on us to use everything we can dream of to resist tyranny, the tyranny that threatens our own country. Reverend Claire Eustace and I were brought together a few weeks ago to offer this service together, and we soon discovered, to our surprise, that we had each found remarkable inspiration in this struggle in 3 countries that are close to each other geographically, but very far away from this country, and very different from us in many ways. That's Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. We are blessed with some of their remarkable music today. You just heard this amazing song from Estonia, and you will learn about other amazing cultural expression and about a remarkable, innovative, secular strategy that helped enable the Baltic states to escape from foreign domination. So come along with Reverend Claire and me on this international voyage. It will surprise you, and we hope it will inspire you as well. So let's start with candle lighting. In one voice, let's say, "Come, let us worship together." Okay. As we light the peace candle, I offer these words of Thich Nhat Hanh. Walk and touch peace every moment. Walk and touch happiness every moment. Each step brings a fresh breeze. Each step makes a flower bloom under our feet. Kiss the earth with your feet. Print on the earth your love and happiness. Earth will be safe when we feel in us enough safety. Together we say, peace is possible. Okay, and now the Black Lives Matter candle. As we light the Black Lives Matter candle, I offer these words of the great abolitionist Frederick Douglass. Douglass is considered to be the greatest American orator of the 19th century. And here are his words. Where justice, and he was a great orator, so I'm going to do a probably feeble attempt to imitate him, okay? Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe. And together we say, Black Lives Matter. Okay, now let's sing Blue Boat Home. love that song. Okay. Today, Reverend Claire and I have the privilege of sharing with you some tales of extraordinary courage, ingenuity, and above all, spirit that enabled 3 small nations to break away from tyranny and become free modern countries. Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, sometimes called the Baltic states because of their location on the Baltic Sea, way up in the northeast corner of Europe near Finland. These countries each have a distinctive culture, but what they have in common is that they're wedged between Russia and Germany. They've always been at the mercy of these 2 terrifying giants with few resources other than spirit. These were the last countries in Europe to become Christian, and their pagan traditions remain alive today. I had the privilege of visiting all 3 of them about 20 years ago and witnessing some of their remarkable resistance to tyranny. I had the extraordinary experience of celebrating the summer solstice in Lithuania, dancing around a bonfire at midnight with hundreds of people. That was great. But I want to share with you an inspiring part of Lithuania's Christian tradition, the Hill of Crosses. There it is. There's a little piece of it. In northern Lithuania, not far from the border with Latvia, there's over an acre of hilly land that's just packed with Christian crosses. They're all handcrafted, and many of them are very elaborate and very beautiful. Hundreds of people make pilgrimages there from far and wide. These crosses are a totally grassroots, spontaneous phenomenon. They started springing up in the 19th century at a time when Lithuania was under the rule of Tsarist Russia, tyrannical rule. Then all 3 Baltic states were under Russian rule. They were part of Russia. Then all 3 of them gained their independence after the Russian Revolution in 1917. But then they lost it again when they were overrun by Nazi Germany during World War II. And at the end of that war, they fell under the domination of the Soviet Union, which, quote unquote, liberated them from Nazism. And building crosses, those crosses on that hill in the middle of the countryside, became a huge movement. It was a powerful form of defiance of the Soviets' suppression of Christianity. Over and over again, the Soviet regime took down the crosses, and over again, the Lithuanian people kept rebuilding them spontaneously, as individuals and in small groups. The Hill of Crosses became a really powerful symbol of resistance to Soviet tyranny. I had the privilege of visiting it at the time I was there 20 years ago. And even though I'm not a Christian, I've never been a Christian, it absolutely moved me to tears. I walked around it for a long time, and I felt totally embraced by the incredible spiritual and human power and the courage that made it possible. Then, as I dug more deeply into Baltic history, I learned about something even more inspiring. This time, let's see the next slide. This time it was a political event involving all 3 Baltic states, a demonstration that changed history. It's called the Baltic Way. That event took place on August 23rd, 1989. It commemorated the 50th anniversary of the signing of the infamous Hitler-Stalin Pact in 1939. Hitler and Stalin, they got together and they ended the independence of all 3 countries, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, also Poland and other countries. On that day, some 2 million people from all 3 Baltic states formed an unbroken, human chain stretching about 419 miles across all 3 countries. Okay, this is amazing. There's 3 different countries, different cultures, different languages. The people don't necessarily seem to like each other a lot. But they really got together and did this. And they did it, while under Soviet rule. These people, these 2 million people were involved. 2 million people joining hands. They represented over a quarter of the total population of those countries. They're small countries. Just think about the courage that took, not to mention the organizing skill. The Baltic Way couldn't have happened without a very widespread and deep-rooted yearning for freedom. This was one of the first human chain demonstrations. You've probably participated in human chains, but this is one of the first ones, and it was the first really large one. So I think it may be the first one that was an unbroken chain for anything like that distance, 419 miles. So anyway, these people had never forgotten the Hitler-Stalin Pact. This event was commemorating that event, the 50th anniversary of that event. And all of them had the courage and the ability to unify across differences to protest that outrage. Now, the Baltic Way was not just a commemoration. It set the stage for the next world-changing event. Only a few months later, Lithuania became the very first Soviet republic to secede from the Soviet Union. And it was quickly followed by Latvia and Estonia. That one big demonstration actually set off the chain of rebellions that led to the crumbling of the Soviet Union. Isn't that amazing? If you ever have any doubt about the effectiveness of mass demonstrations, just think about the Baltic Way. Now, the Hill of Crosses and the Baltic Way, so let's take inspiration from them in fighting against the shocking inroads on political freedom in this country. Okay. Thank you. Okay, right at this moment, take a deep breath, breathe. And then let's take a couple of minutes to connect with one another. This is a chance to greet the person sitting next to you, especially if it's not the one that you came to church with this morning, or just get up and walk around and say hi to friends or strangers, or just stay in your seat and shut your eyes and have a quiet moment with yourself. Begin when you hear the gong and return to your seats when you hear it again.
Dad.
I'm glad this is such a raucous and jolly crowd meeting, talking with everyone. So, Ta lenda mesipu pole it means he flies toward the beehive. Johann Liv wrote this poem around 1904, around the same time the song Koit that you heard earlier. It was written around the same time, also during a time of occupation, Russian occupation at that time. And it describes a bee flying through dangerous thunderstorms with thousands of other bees dying alongside it, trying to get back home. It symbolizes the Estonian people's historical resistance, resilience, and survival through oppression and a quest for freedom. And it's become an unofficial national anthem sung every year at Laulupidu. It's the song festival.
Okay, she's wonderful, isn't she? Okay. Now is the time when we say happy birthday or get well soon or congratulations or whatever is in our thoughts about people we care about, whether they're in this room or not. You can call out their names when I sound the gong again. And I'll also read out loud both the greetings you've written in the book, in the narthex, the entry hall, and the wishes you've shared on Zoom. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, here we are. So Ken and Leanna Bresnahan are visiting from River of Grass UU, in it must be grass, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Welcome. Okay, and here's the word from the Zoom people. Evelyn Sheridan says, hi, everyone. Bill Blakely says, good morning, good Sunday morning, everyone. Claudia Brown says, good morning, and Glenn Balbaca says, happy to be here. That's it from the Zoom people. They're just greeting us. Okay, when were we gone? I don't know, we don't know we're gone. So next is Claire with the pastoral prayer. Oh my God, how could I forget? Let's do it again for me. We hold them in our care.
Holy One, we come to you with great gratitude and deep humility for all the blessings we see here, we have here today, this beautiful day, starting out foggy, and it's probably going to be sunny because that's kind of weather we get here most of the time. We hold in our hearts with sorrow and anger the shootings, the killings at the mosque in San Diego, and we hold in our care all of the mosques in Bay Area, in California, in the United States, everywhere there is danger and hate. May we continue to resist this violence that we also experienced yesterday in Washington, D.C. May we hold each other. May we continue to find strength with each other as we are doing what we need to do to resist the authoritarianism, environmental or ecological degradation, and other violence happening all over the world. May we continue to love each other as much as we can and love this planet. Amen, Amin, and blessed be. First, I want to thank, is this on? I want to thank the Reverend Laurel Liefert for sharing her pulpit with me today. It's good to be here. I think the last time I preached here was a year ago, Memorial Day weekend. It's a popular time to have a guest preacher. My family went on a choir tour in Finland and Estonia last year. The last part of the trip was Laulupidu, a 2-day choir festival in Tallinn, Estonia. My daughter's choir was one of the few international children's choirs to sing at the festival. So she was there in that video that you saw. She was actually there singing, so you probably did see her. The first Laulupidu occurred in 1869 to celebrate 50 years of the abolition of serfdom in Livonia, which was a historical name for the region on the eastern shores of the Baltic Sea. People found the festival so uplifting that they decided to have it every 5 years. And 5 years is kind of like, they say it's every 5 years, but we went last year and the next one is in 2028. So it's open to interpretation 5. It survived the Soviet occupation, and this festival kept people's hopes alive during that period. During those years, certain patriotic and nationalistic songs, as well as the Estonian flag, were prohibited. Festival planners were forced to include choirs from other Soviet states in an effort to depress nationalistic feelings. Last year, Laulupidu included over 32,000 singers and instrumentalists and 80,000 spectators in person. The event was televised over Estonian national television. It's impossible to describe the overwhelming feelings even I, as a non-Estonian, experienced while listening to thousands of singers and surrounded by 80,000 listeners. They were waving Estonian flags and some wearing Estonian folk clothing. It was probably the most uplifting experience I've had in my life. I came to tears many times and can still feel the tears well up at times when remembering it or when reading about it in Estonia's history. I'm going to get my glass of water. At the beginning of the service, we heard and saw the video of last year's performance of Koit, which ends with the conductor lighting the song Festival Flame. The flame indicates that everything will be rekindled, and out of light begins the celebration. The patriotic song Koit, which means dawn, was composed in 1904 by Mikkel Ludig with lyrics by Friedrich Kuhlbars. I think I might have gotten that mixed up. They were both involved in the song, and has been sung as the opening song at Laulupidu since 1910. The song protests the Russian occupation and looks forward to a new day, a dawn, when Estonia will be free. Here is an English translation of the song. The songs now flow with a more beautiful sound on mighty currents over our land. The beauty of this progresses on the shoulders of the courtyards. The surface of the fatherland awakens to bloom on the crests of mountains. The moon rises at dawn. Let the light of hope rise in the sky. We can see how Friedrich Kuhlbars used metaphors of nature in his lyrics so that the true intent of the song is obscured. The singing revolution, which Emily spoke about in her reflection, it occurred from 1987 to 1991. It began with mass protests of the Soviet plan to mine phosphorite, which would have caused great ecological damage in Estonia. These protests were called the Phosphorite War and included singing, demonstrations, and public speeches. Because of the mass nonviolent protests, the Soviet government withdrew its plan to mine phosphorite. Later, unions of artists, musicians, and writers organized to oppose Soviet rule, and 3 different socio-political groups formed: the Heritage Society, the Estonian National Front, and the National Independence Party. The Heritage Society provided education of Estonian history. The Estonian National Front advocated for the independence of an Estonian state within a loose confederation with the Soviet Union. The National Independence Party advocated for complete independence from the Soviet Union. In May of 1988, the Soviet government stopped a rock concert in Tallinn, Estonia, because of fears that the nationalistic songs would ignite unrest. And one of those nationalistic songs was also named Koit, with very different lyrics. But also, they were different lyrics, but they also had metaphors of nature. So after the Soviet government broke up that concert, attendees of that concert then walked 3 miles to the Song Festival grounds, which are the Laulupidu grounds, to continue the concert. The crowd sang for 6 nights, holding hands and singing patriotic songs. About 200,000 people joined in the last night of this mass singing event. People also waved the Estonian flag, which was the first time that had happened publicly since the Soviet occupation. The mass singing event evoked excitement in Estonians about the possibility of independence. Because of the success of the unplanned mass singing event, the Estonian Popular Front organized a festival called Estonian Song to take place in September 1988. Turnus Madji wrote a rock song he named Koit in 2 hours in order to premiere this new song at the festival. And this modern Koit became an anthem of the singing revolution. Singers and instrumentalists performed patriotic and nationalistic songs to approximately 300,000 attendees. That number corresponds to approximately 1/3 of the Estonian population at that time. Can you just imagine if 1/3 of the population of the US got together and sang songs? The other 2 Baltic countries, Latvia and Lithuania, had independence movements that were also organized, at least partly, by environmental groups, and involved singing patriotic and nationalistic songs of their own. As Emily spoke about in her reflection, the 3 Baltic countries joined together on August 23rd, 1989, and formed a human chain that spanned 419 miles through Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, and through all of those their capitals. Independence movements in the 3 countries organized this protest to bring international attention to their desire for independence and to demonstrate their solidarity. They sang while holding hands. The Soviet government responded to the protest with intense rhetoric, but did nothing violent, and also did not attempt to bridge the gulf between the viewpoints of the Baltic countries and Moscow. Eventually, both Latvia and Estonia became independent countries in 1991 with no loss of life. Lithuania had gained its independence earlier, though one of its nonviolent protests was met with Soviet violence. What lessons can we take from the Baltic countries' success? One thing that I noticed while reading about the singing revolution was a lack of a single organizing figure. There was no Martin Luther King Jr. in this revolution. Instead, in Estonia, there was a consortium of both unions and activist groups. The singing revolution was led by people across different movements, together engaging in collective action. Another attribute of the revolution is that it began as an environmental or ecological movement, with Estonians protesting the Soviet plan to mine phosphorite. Estonians have a long history of ecological beliefs, and despite the Crusades and various occupations by Christian countries such as Denmark, Sweden, and Germany, and Russia, when it was before it became the Soviet Union, Estonians continued to hold on to their reverence for nature. In Estonia, the term for ecological consciousness is saving nature. Our guide for Old Town Tallinn told us that Estonia is considered one of the least religious countries in the world. But she also said, quote, "We are believers. We believe in nature. We hug trees. Estonians love to hug trees," unquote. She also told us of other nature-based rituals in which Estonians engage. The third lesson I received from the success of the singing revolution is the Estonian people's commitment to nonviolence. And actually, I want to plug, there is a documentary, I think it might be called The Singing Revolution. And I actually watched it after writing this sermon. And it's quite moving and beautiful. It's to see all of it's really interesting because a lot of musicians were part of this resistance, and they interview a lot of current conductors of Laulupidu. A lot of their famous conductors were organizers in the movement, and it's fun to see. And I remember seeing one, and I thought, I recognize that person. So then I watched some videos. I'm like, yeah, that was that guy, like 20 years ago. So their commitment to nonviolence was also very strategic, because it would have been entirely illogical for Estonians to engage in violence, as they had no army and no weapons. So they didn't have much of a choice but to engage nonviolently. In our country, on the other hand, we have lots of weapons. So theoretically, we could wage a violent struggle against the state. However, their nonviolence was necessary in order for their protests to be successful. The Soviet government would have suffered little impact to its public relations if it had responded violently to a violent revolution. However, Soviet President Gorbachev was promoting openness during this time of the singing revolution, and responding violently to peaceful protesters would have harmed the Soviet Union's public relations campaign with both non-Russian Soviet states and the international community. Likewise, police that respond violently, as we've seen, police and other, what's the word for, the broader word for police, agents of the state, when they respond violently in the US, they draw a lot more consternation and greater protests than violent police action against a violent protests. Less than 24 hours after I returned from Estonia, I was engaged in contract negotiations between my union and my employer. At the end of the meeting, we notified the employer that we would engage in a one-day strike on July 29th. We sang, chanted, and danced while we were on the picket line. We brought our kids. Unitarian Universalist and other clergy attended. I wonder how it looked to the public, because there was a lot of media that day, it was a slow media day, so we got a lot of media on us. It's great. I wonder how it looked to see clergy in our vestments, children, and healthcare workers dancing and singing on the picket line, how that contrasted with the security guards that the employer hired for the day of the strike in order to protect the company. What harm did my employer think that it's mostly middle-aged hospice healthcare workers, nurses, social workers, chaplains, along with clergy and children, would do while picketing? While striking for better working conditions is a lower risk activity than protesting authoritarian governments, it is good practice for engaging in larger struggles. Once we provided the employer notice of the strike, we informed the Contra Costa Labor Council, which is composed of other labor unions in the area. Those unions agreed not to cross the picket line. We also notified the media. We had designated people who spoke with the media, and those members underwent media training. Collaborating with others is one of the key similarities between participating in a high-profile collective action and resisting authoritarianism. The No Kings protests have been organized by Indivisible and other progressive organizations, along with 200 other groups. Like in the independence movements in the Baltic countries, environmental groups, unions, and musician groups are involved in our own countries' anti-authoritarian movements. I'll end with verses from Coit. On the crests of the mountains, the moon rises at dawn. Let the light of hope rise in the sky.
This is the executive director of Genesis, Mary Lim. So this is our second year belonging to Genesis as a congregation, and it was in April that we designated you as our half-plate recipient. And so today I'm here to present you with a check. It's $538.37. And that represents half of our collection. And this is a tangible evidence of our support of the work that you do in our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
And if you want to...
1 minute, okay?
1 minute.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for supporting Genesis and the good work that you all do as a church by spreading your resources, expanding your impact with your half-plate offering. The check will support the Genesis priorities, which are voted upon by our membership base. Genesis gathers our membership, our member congregations and organizations periodically to choose our path. And this year we were so grateful to have convened the Issues Assembly in January and include your church as a member. And it's not a contest, but the First Unitarian Church of Oakland had the most number of people there. Our priorities, give yourself a big hand for turning out. Our priorities are all about building interfaith power this year, fighting tyranny and cruelty by protecting immigrants and refugees, supporting vulnerable people by pushing for more public transit funding, and engaging voters in the midterm election by doing nonpartisan ballot parties. So thank you. Our next big event will actually be here, September 26th, the Be the Change Breakfast, where we will unveil the 2026 Genesis t-shirt, which will have a line, it's a secret, we'll have a line from a song that you all sing. So you have to come to the breakfast to find out. Thank you. Okay.
All right, good job.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Mary.
All right.
Okay. As you make your donations today, be aware that you're giving a little piece of your heart to the collection of hearts that is this community. You're saying thank you. You're telling the minister and the staff that you appreciate their work. You're giving a little helping hand to restore the full beauty of this building. You're sustaining the interfaith movement for human integrity, to which our church will give half the donations received this month. You're offering a helping hand to the sick and needy in our supportive community. You're expressing your appreciation of our past as a congregation and your hope for our future. Thank you so much for that little piece of your heart. If this is your first time here, please let the plate pass you by. The contributions of others represent a welcome to you. Will the ushers please come forward?
Bless the offering to the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community. We dedicate ourselves, and these are our offerings.
Morning, my name is Janet McFarland. I am the president of your board of trustees. Yes, we do rock. Okay, so first announcement, please join us in Venti Hall after the service for our potluck. It's really shaping up in there. Everyone is welcome, whether you brought anything or not. There's plenty of food. This afternoon, from 1 until 3, there will be an interfaith dialogue right here in Hamilton Hall. Join us for a conversation among faith leaders from various traditions, including Judaism, Hinduism, Sufism, Buddhism, and Unitarian Universalism. The conversation will be moderated by UU member Tony Salvata. Are you here, Tony? He'll come. Yes, I just thought we'd wave to him, but he's been playing with the Joyful Noise Band. He and his wife have been attending for the last year or so. Okay, this Tuesday evening at 6:30 on Zoom will be our monthly board meeting. Public comment is at 6:30. The link should be in your Chalice chatter. On Sunday, next Sunday, May 31st, there will be a short service from 10:30 to 11, during which Reverend Laurel will lead singing and also give the minister's date of the church. And that will be followed by our annual congregational meeting. The annual meeting will include an election of new board members, gratitude to outgoing board members, appreciation of a special elder, a justice presentation, and who knows, more fun. It could be possible. Let's have fun on our annual meeting, right? Ask everybody, if you can, to bring some extra food so we have a really nice spread at 12:30 when we finish our work, our civic duties. Somebody asked me, why should I go to the annual meeting? And I said, well, it's like it's your civic duty, right? It's your opportunity to vote and find out what the work of the church has been on the board level since the last meeting in March of 2025. We have a really great report that will be available. Registration for the women's retreat is live. Register within the next few weeks, as accommodations will fill up fast for this very popular August 28th to 30 event. Women and girls, non-binary people, and boys under age 6 are welcome. Tamara Haw and Emily Stoper will be available during coffee hour today to answer questions and help with registration. The Religious Education Committee is seeking 2 to 3 more members for a 1 to 2 year commitment. We have been running at half capacity this year and invite parents and non-parents to consider supporting this vital ministry of the congregation. There's lots of beautiful work and community building ahead. Contact Chris Wedding-Kroll, Alexis Walensky, or Jeff Melcher for more information. Newcomers, we're so glad you were here today. Right after this service, please meet Emily Stoper for a 10-minute personalized welcome where you can learn more about the church right here in front of the pulpit. And check your Chalice Chatter for newsletter and our rolling news board for more upcoming events, resources, and information about the church. And now we have a very special announcement, and I'd like to call up Jeffrey Melcher, Michael Rothammer, Chris Wedding-Kroll to join us on the chancel. Do you want to stand that side? Okay, so this is from an email that you'll be receiving this morning, and the text of what we're going to say is in that email. Dear community, it is with both sadness and anticipation that Jeff Melcher and I announce that his time with us as Director of Children and Family Ministries is coming to a close. We are proud of the program he has developed and the community of love and care that has enveloped our families. Very grateful. The next step for Jeff to pursue other professional dreams and for the church to find a new director of religious education. The Personnel Committee is working with the RE Committee, and they're starting the search with a job listing tomorrow. Jeff's last day will be July 15th. We will have a celebration of his time working for the church on Sunday, July 12th. Jeff, it has been a pleasure and a joy to work with you over the years. We wish you well. There you are. Sneaking up on me. Okay. Let me say that again. Jeff, it has been a pleasure and a joy to work with you over the years. We wish you well in your future endeavors. Oh, a hug.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Beloved community, I've been serving this congregation in one role or another for 5+ years. It has been a gratifying and growthful period of my ministry. I am proud of the work that I've done. I am proud of what we have accomplished together. It is amazing and stupendous. I'm grateful for all of the amazing staff, volunteers, and community support that has made this a success. As much as I love you all and have such joy being with you each Sunday, it is time for me to take on other personal and professional growth roles in my life. The board and I have agreed that given my trajectory towards ministerial ordination and upcoming frequent periodic travel to help care for my parents, I will transition out of my current role as Director of Children and Family Ministry. After my last day, July 15th, as a professional courtesy to your incoming religious professional, I will be staying away for at least 6 months. This is a common practice for religious professionals, allowing the new person to get settled in. After those 6 months, there will be a reassessment, and I may come back to visit when I'm not out being an itinerant minister, leading dances of universal peace, or helping family in Michigan. The mystery awaits. It is time for my next phase of my life in ministry to test my wings. Your love is the lift that has helped my launch. You Oakland, you too have a chance to soar, continuing to build a renewed religious exploration and religious education program. Building beloved community is challenging, joyous, beautiful work. We did it together. The work continues, both together and apart.
Couple times, me too. Right. We want to say our faith and joy. Now we're done. That was good.
I want to say something.
Let's put in somebody's foot.
So I won't be here on July 12th, and so I wanted to personally, in front of you all, thank you, Jeff, for your work. And you know, there's that song, Spirit of Life, that talks about roots and wings. I hope, Jeff, that you will consider the roots of love and community that you have helped co-create today be the roots that keep you rooted while you soar. So I am very excited about the wings that I've seen you sprouting. And your impression on this community will always be a part of the tapestry of love. And so again, thank you so much. Blessings.
If you would like to stand as you are willing or able, or stay seated, and let us sing this amazing Fire of Commitment. Light up. It's into faith set free from fear. The fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze. When our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with devotion that burns within, then the the stories of our living brings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live and our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Now is the time we extinguish the chalice, and may the Spirit within us carry us forward throughout this week until we meet again next week. And let me just say, I really welcome talking to newcomers. Meet me here, and we'll walk together and grab some lunch together.
This is on. Oh, great. Please look toward each other, look toward the center of the aisle, and hold a hand or touch a shoulder if you're comfortable doing so. So if you're comfortable, look into the eyes of someone you see. We kind of ended this with with some surprising news. And so just remember, we are all connected. Our connectedness is our strength. Our love of each other is our strength. And bring that out to the world this week until we meet again. Blessed be.